Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Heather. How are you?
Good, good. I am excited. It's almost the holidays. Woohoo!
Yeah. Hey, actually, we'll dive into that. Well, I want to, because I want to touch on that, because, anyways, we'll talk about it a little bit afterwards. But you did
Okay.
something really interesting yesterday that I want to share with everybody. So I'll let you share it because I think it's incredibly, because it's one of the things, when I think about my fears and I think about things that I'm afraid of, and what you did yesterday is one of those things. So hopefully
Oh, fun.
I've got everybody's attention at this point. So we'll see. So Heather, what exactly
I
did you
love
do
it. So,
yesterday?
so as I mentioned on Wednesday, a couple of my friends were coming down to the cottage and we were going to do the reflection worksheet for ourselves and also start to create what we want for next year, both as a reflection and as a one-word action statement. And to honor that work that was done, we also wanted to make sure that we are activating our entire body for the experience. And the way we decided to do that was to jump in Georgian Bay. So it was I've never done that. I know people do the polar plunge on January 1st often, and I watch it and think those people are crazy. And of course, I have crazy friends, so they're like, "We're going to do it." And it was really awesome because we decided to wake up the next morning and do it first thing in the morning. And before we left, one of my friends he says, "Okay, we have to plan what what happens when we get back because our brains might be a little bit jumbled. So like towels, bathing suits off, make sure we get warm. I put some nice warm blankets in the dryer, all in preparation for going down to the lake. And then we headed down. And I have to say, I was full of energy and like, yes, this is so crazy. And then as soon as I saw the water, I'm like, this is crazy. So I got in a little bit. I did not go
Yep.
the full body plunge where my two friends totally did the full body plunge. And they were red like lobsters. And it probably took an hour to de-thaw afterwards. My feet were quite tingling. But even just as far as I got up on my legs, not doing the full body plunge, I was full of energy. I actually felt clear in my thought process and I felt energized for like the year to come. And that was what we were honoring. So it really activated all of those things. And I know, John, you said you're fearful of it. I'd love to hear if anyone's listening. Have you done a polar plunge? Have you ever done the ice baths? I've done ice baths. This was way colder, way colder than
Wow.
that.
Well, yeah, and there's that, plus you're walking, because you're a few not that far away, but you're a little bit away from the
Yeah.
water, so you have to plan, like you said, you have to plan ahead, which is a big it's a great metaphor for 2023. You got to plan ahead if you're going to go and you're going to do things,
That you've never
set your
done before. You
yeah,
got to plan ahead.
set yourself up for success, right? And it's good that you took a few minutes just to reflect on, well, we can put towels in the dryer, and we can do, like, there's a variety of different things that were done in advance, right?
Yeah.
I
Well,
loved
and
it.
and actually,
Yeah.
John, the other thing that was done in advance is the night before the commitment was made, and the commitment was everyone get up and put your bathing suits on. There's the no excuses. So don't do anything else. Get your bathing suit on first thing. And we all sort of woke up and looked at each other, and we all were like, "Yep, we got our bathing suits on," and off we went. So it was
Oh man.
even the night before setting up the next day for that. Like, there's so much amazing learnings for having an amazing life in just these micro moments of committing to something that's scaring the crap out of us. And you had to plan for it, you had to commit, we had to look each other in the eye and say, we're doing this, right? And boom, we went out and did it.
I love it. The commitment. So, man, there's so much here to unpack that I think is so rich, right? The commitment, just preparing in advance. And I think about people who want to get into better health in 2023, right? Like, one of the things, and we talked about rituals earlier this week. My ritual is to put my gym stuff aside at night. So when I wake up, I grab it, I go.
Mm.
like I've even worn the t-shirt I'm going to wear when I work out in the morning to bed. And then when I wake up, I just put on my shorts and then I'm good. Right. You're sharing with me somebody dresses up their kids the night before. So
in the clothes they're going to wear for school, so there's no fights in the morning. Yeah.
So, there's a bunch of different strategies that we can implement, but it comes down to just really making that decision and that commitment, right? Like put on your bathing suit the night before. That's locked it in. No matter what happens, we're going to go. Even if we dip our toe in the water, that could be success, right? Like success doesn't mean, yes, ideally going in head underwater and I just think about it, I'm getting cold.
It was cold. It was really cold.
But that commitment to just that follow through. And
well,
I think
and here's a fun part of the story too. When I was walking back, I had my towel, I had everything, I was all like cozy, but I'm taking my easy steps. And a guy was driving by because it's a little bit of a walk to the lake. And he stopped and he goes, "Did you go for a swim?" And I'm like, "Well, not a swim, a polar plunge." And he just chuckled like I made his day. But he couldn't fathom that we'd gone in the water. But the ripple effect is, I know he went home and told his wife. I know he went home and told his family. I know he thought about like, what craziness is that? So, when we take action in our lives, there's a ripple effect to other people, whether it's that they're going to also do it, or they're going to talk about it, or they're going to even contemplate what crazy shit in their own lives can they do. All of that's good ripple effects. So, this one stranger just stopped and he kind of looked like my dad. So it made me happy because like my dad would think that's crazy. So it was really fun. Like, so not only when we take action in our lives and do things that scare us, we really positively impact other people. And then, I'm sharing it here and I've shared some of the pictures online. And, it's just amazing what we do when we get out of our own way.
Yeah, no, 100%. And yeah, I don't know. They're just, it's such a great lesson. We talked about, so it's one thing to talk about saying yes to all the scary shit. It's another to go out and do the stuff, right? And we live by the motto, right? We live by the motto of going out and doing the scary stuff, right? Like, you did your, and actually I'm going to put that on my list for 2023. I'm not going to be anywhere close to a cold lake in the next couple of weeks, but when I do come back, I will find some time that maybe I'll drive up to your cottage. And
I think so. I think you had to come up to the cottage. That sounds like a photo op that we need to take advantage of.
I'll have to wear my bathing suit the night before. I don't know how it's going to feel driving up, but we're going to make it work. But it's a mantra that we live by because we know the benefits of saying yes, right? And actually, I met somebody new for the first time yesterday, and we sat down, we had lunch. And he's like, is it right to say yes or is it right to say no? And so he was going back and forth around this yes and no notion. And I said, well, it is perfect. And we've talked about this. It's perfect to say yes when you know where you want to go, or at least you know what that goal is, right? And that's one of the things that we covered in our masterclass is once you define what that is, saying yes becomes easy and saying no becomes easy. Saying no, and actually I heard it this week, saying no is a complete sentence. No, that's a complete sentence, right?
Okay.
So I know. It's like saying no is a complete, because we're like, you think about what's going to happen over this coming weekend. Like, and one of the things that I'm preparing for as I go into this weekend is we've been so focused, or personally I have, and I know you have, we've been so focused on our health. The last thing we want to do is ruin it with this coming weekend. But we want to enjoy ourselves. We want to be with family. We want to be in conversation. But, my European upbringing is you never leave anything on your plate, right? So, I'm going to be careful and mindful of what I put on my plate. And one really good tip I got from somebody is to make sure that there's white space. So, on your plate, make sure that you have some white space so that you're not putting more into your body than your body can handle. I already know that's going to happen, so I'm just preparing for that mentally. But it's really around just being prepared. And, you going out for your walk yesterday morning was that preparation process. How are you preparing yourself going into this coming weekend? What are you bringing in with you? And I know there's going to be conversations that are going to be interesting and maybe they're not going to be your favorite, but how do you prepare for that in advance? What are you going to say yes to? And what are you going to move on to when things don't necessarily go the way you need them to go?
If we just expand on that, say yes and say no, when you say yes to things, you're saying no to other things at the same time, even though you're not physically saying it. So often people are like, but I say yes and I feel overwhelmed, and that's a sign that you're not saying yes to your personal health care, your personal self-care. And you may be saying things that honor other people or what other people want, and then you're starting to feel overwhelmed. So we're not saying say yes to everything. What we're saying is say yes to the things that are in alignment with where you want to go, how you want to be of service, and how you want to show up in the world. And then the things that you have to say no to that don't align become so much easier. And one of the things, again, back to what you said, John, is we said yes to ourselves, and actually now we have more energy to give to the world. So we gave ourselves that gift, and then we have more to give. So saying yes to the right things gives you that energy, gives you that burst, gives you that focus, and it's the right thing to do. So please do not misunderstand that we're saying say yes to everything. What we're saying is say yes to the right things, and then clarity comes for what you will no longer accept in your life, do in your life, or feel obliged or committed to, that it's just not necessary for the best life ever.
Yeah, there's so much there. Oh my gosh. As you're saying that, I'm like, there's so much in that, right? Like, and one word that you said specifically that stood out was just your boundaries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Walking in, do you know what your boundaries are? Do you know how far do you want to be pushed, right? Like, and I'll use the example of, having a glass of wine. I love having a glass of wine over the holiday. I love having a glass of wine on the weekends too. And wine and chestnuts are the best. So, but going in and having a glass of wine and somebody saying, hey, here, have another glass, and you're like, but I really don't want another glass. And so just put your hand on the top of the glass and say, no, I'm good with where I'm at, and just being very clear with yourself of what your boundaries are. I think that's incredibly important, and feeling confident and not being disrespectful or hurting other people, because I know, or at least I've seen or I felt myself, where I felt like I was offending the other person because I wasn't accepting their gift, right? Essentially, the way I look at it is, if somebody is offering either more food, more alcohol, it's because they want to gift it to me. And there's a sense of abundance from that perspective. But there's certain things that I know just don't align with who I am and what I'm doing right now, that it's okay to say, you know what? No, I'm okay with just one glass. And if I need more, I'll come and I'll talk to you. And that's different, right?
Exactly.
But just being clear with your own personal boundaries, especially as we go into this weekend, where I know a lot of people are going to be with family and just enjoying themselves. Enjoy yourself. And this is what I love, but be you, right? As you go into, be you as you go into this weekend. Don't deviate from who you are just to appease another person.
John, you shared earlier that you and your wife sat down and did the reflection worksheet. What came up for you guys? And I love that you guys did that together, because it can be a personal assignment that you reflect on, but it can also be a couples thing. And it's really cool to listen to your partner's answers. So what can you share, like, with being honoring the relationship as well?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to share. No, it's just what I found, just sitting down with her. Actually, we took time, we grabbed the coffee, we sat down together, and we just went through the work, and we went through the questions, right? And we really thought about what were the 5 big accomplishments from a relationship perspective that happened for us, right? One of the big ones I shared with everybody here was, we purchased a bigger home for the first time, after being together for so many years. We moved into a new house in January of this year, right? We moved into the house, we did some renovations, we did some work, and it was just nice to see how far we've come over the last 12 months. Because if I think about where we were this year, this time last year was a very different situation, right? We're in a smaller place, crammed up. Actually, we didn't even put up a Christmas tree last year because we were packing things to move. So we didn't even get to do that. But this year,
Mm.
you know, we got to do that, right? And we got to spend more time with family this year. We had more family over because we had more space. You know, we hosted more dinners and lunches with my in-laws, which was fantastic just to have them here with us and celebrate with us in our home. So these are all things that if you don't take just a few minutes just to think about it, you don't realize that they've actually happened. And even
Mhm.
just going through the questions of challenges, you know, what were some of the big challenges that showed up for you this year? You know, just working through those questions was like, wow, you know what? And we got through it. So there
Mm.
was a lot of good work. And then I love the last one, which is, you know, what's our word for the year? Right. Well,
Mhm.
we each came up with our own words, but like, what is that big word for you for 2023? So, and it just gave us some really good clarity in terms of where we wanted to go into 2023. And we set some pretty crazy, audacious goals. And I shared one of them already with everybody here, and that's to go do an Ironman in 2023. So yeah, it's, you know, you need a support system, you need a community as you're going to go into those things. And I think we
Well,
forget that sometimes, right?
and our community is it's not just one person, it can be multiple people, but the more people you tell what your goals are, the more people everyone wants you to be successful. Like oftentimes you think, oh, people want us to fail. No, everyone's rooting for us, but they don't know what to root for. So when we tell them, listen, I'm going to be an Ironman this year, like now when, because that means that, and to be honest, from your wife's perspective, that means she's not going to be spending some time with you because you're going to be dedicating that to your workouts. But because you've declared it, she knows that that's going to be part of the commitment that you guys have made to each other. And I'm sure she has some things that she's going to commit to as well. And the ebb and flow will happen. But imagine if you didn't ask for that or state that
Mhm.
and just, you know, left every morning and didn't say where you were going. Like that's not a good relationship, right? So, you know, our partners can be really good cheerleaders for us, but only if we
Yeah.
communicate. They're not mind readers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did
Well,
the exercise with my friends, and what was really neat is the question of what brought us joy. It was
mm,
really simple stuff, and it was stuff that cost no money. It was connection with friends and family. It was, you know, those tea parties with our kids. It was, you know, taking a walk on a snowy path. Listen, yesterday was jumping in the lake for me. It brought me joy. I was giggling. Like we were giggling like little
yeah.
kids. So, you know, the stuff that brings us joy is not huge stuff. It's the
Yeah.
simplest things in life.
It's the little things. Yeah. No, and I love it because, and you know, going through the exercise, I just remembered the what brought us joy wasn't what we accumulated over the last year. It was those little intimate moments with, you know, with each other, and then also with the people around us, right? Like just having those conversations, having those discussions, and yeah, it was really neat. So, you know, what I'm going to invite everybody to do, if you're listening to this or the replay, just, you know, download. We still have the reflection worksheet. It's tied in the comments here, and we'll repost it for everybody again. But take a minute with your spouse, right? If you're going to be with your spouse, your partner, you know, over the next week, if you're going to be home, over coffee. And really, this is what I did, right? Like we just did it over a coffee conversation. We just went through all the questions. We defined our word, and you know, now we're going to go do some other work, which is beautiful because it leads us into other things in terms of what's going to happen for 2023, and I'm incredibly excited about that.
I love it. I love it. There's just so much to be grateful for, but only when you do that reflection. And
Yeah.
I know we'll be talking about this into January, but we'll then start to layer in. All right, now what does that one word equate to in terms of actions for 2023?
Mhm.
So I know, John, we're thinking of launching a mastermind in January to make
Yes.
sure that people stay on course. You know, again, we're not into the New Year's resolutions, we're into the intentions. So we're going to launch that, I think, the third week in January, which is about the time that when your New Year's resolutions have pretty much failed. So
Worn out.
we're gonna catch you on that fall, and we're gonna make sure that you're successful. So more information to come, but we would love all of you to join us for that journey, and we'd like to do it in little 6-week sprints because then you can feel the action, we can feel the energy, and really measure success in those small incremental improvements. So more information to come, but you know, we're down to the wire. It's it's the holiday season. We're taking next week off. John, you're going to do some travel.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
are back on what date for everyone?
We
for
are
everyone
back.
else?
Well, so we were going to be back on the 9th, which is just 2 weeks. So just to give people a bit of, not to give people a break. Firstly, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I will do a live from where I am. We'll see if it works out and the internet connection is stable enough. But yeah, we will be back officially on January the 9th, Monday morning, 8:40 again, just to, like we have been doing over the last couple of weeks. We do have the reflection worksheet if you want to keep up to date in terms of what we're doing. Once you download the reflection worksheet, you'll be getting regular updates from us, and we'll let you know when the next mastermind is going to be happening in January. And we're here to support. So if there is one thing that we want to leave everybody with today, Heather, what's that one thing? I know there's always a little bit of an assignment at the end of each of these calls, right?
You know what? My friend Alan, he's got a great saying, and I'll share it with everyone. His saying for the year is let go and let's go. So I think the action is, what are you letting go of? And let's go. And what does 2023 look like? Let go, let's go.
All right, excellent. Okay, so with that, we're going to wish everybody happy holidays. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah for those that celebrate Hanukkah as well. But thank you for all the support that we've received this year and all the comments and just, I'm going to say all the love that we've gotten from everybody. We have our regulars, and hi, Felicia. I know you're saying Merry Christmas, Happy New Year as well. But just thank you, and this is just the beginning. 2022 is, there's something sparked, and now we are on fire, and we're going to keep going into 2023. And I'm super excited what we're going to be able to bring and offer everybody here. All right. So Heather, awesome. Thank you. And I want to wish you a Merry Christmas too. I don't think I'm going to see you
too, John.
New Year. And so Happy New Year's, everybody. And we'll talk to you all in 2023. Have a great weekend.